Hare Krishna. Can you hear my voice? Am I audible? Okay, let's start. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Nityanamini. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So thank you all very much for joining today's session. We have been discussing we did complete the 19th chapter of the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam yesterday, and we spent sufficient time recapping the chapter also, and we have discussed the um, topography and the prayers offered in the 9 varshas which constitute the Jambudvipa. So the Jambudvipa has been described in detail across 3 chapters. So now, in this 20th chapter, we are going to discuss the descriptions of the other dvipas. Okay. So we will discuss this today. Starting from today, I'm sure. I don't think we'll be able to complete this chapter today. It's a long chapter, but it's not a very philosophical chapter. It's just a descriptive chapter, that which describes the various dvipas, the various other dvipas. Out of the 7 dvipas, one dvipa, Jambudvipa, has been described in detail. Now the other dvipas have to be described. This is all in Bhumandala. Okay, we are still in one of the 14 planetary systems, the 7th planetary system, the middlemost planetary system, which is the Bhumandala. So in Bhumandala, we discussed over 3 chapters, Jambudvipa, which is the centermost and the smallest dvipa. So in this chapter, we will discuss the other 6 dvipas. So that's what we are going to discuss now. Okay. So Shukadeva Goswami continues. Shri Shuka Uvacha Atap Param Plakshadinam Pramana Lakshana Samsthanato Varsha Vibhaga Upavarnyate. Now I shall describe the dimensions, characteristics, and shapes of the 6 islands, beginning with the island of Plaksha. So starting with the description of Plakshadweep, Srila Shukadeva Goswami says, I will describe the dimensions, characteristics, and shapes of the 6 islands. Actually, there are 7, but Jambudweep has been described in detail. Now the other 6 islands shall be described in this chapter. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti summarizing this chapter, he says, the 20th chapter describes Plakshadweep and other islands, their varshas, rivers, mountains, and devatas, as well as the Loka mountain. If you remember, this is Bhumandala. At exactly half the radius, there is this Loka mountain. And outside this Loka mountain, there are no inhabitants. And inside the Loka mountain, this is divided into 7 islands and 7 oceans. So this is Bhumandala. Okay. Jambudvipo ayam yavat pramana vistaras tavata ksharodadina pariveshtito yata merur jambvakyena lavanodadir api tato dviguna vishalena plakshakyena parikshipto yata parika bahya upavanena plaksho jambu pramano dvipakyakaro हिरण्मय उत्थितो यत्राग्निर उपास्ते सप्तजिह्वस् तस्याधिपतिः प्रियव्रत आत्मज इद्मजिह्वः स्वं दीपं सप्तवर्षाणि विभज्य सप्तवर्षनामाभ्य आत्मजेभ्य आकलय्य स्वयं आत्मयोगेन उपरराम. As Sumeru mountain is surrounded by Jambudvipa, Jambudvipa is also surrounded by an ocean of salt water, whose breadth is the same as the Jambudvipa, which is 100,000 yojanas. So Jambudvipa is surrounded by the saltwater ocean. And the saltwater ocean, the breadth of the saltwater ocean is 1000 yojanas, which is the same as Jambudvipa. As a moat around a fort is sometimes surrounded by a garden-like forest, the saltwater ocean surrounding Jambudvipa is itself surrounded by Plakshadvipa, whose breadth is twice that of the saltwater ocean, which means there is a surrounding the um, uh, surrounding the saltwater ocean, which is 100,000 yojanas in breadth, there is a circular island, concentric circular island surrounding the saltwater ocean, and this is twice the width of the saltwater ocean, and this is called as Plakshadweep. Why is it called as Plakshadweep? On Plakshadweepa, there is a Plaksha tree as tall as the Jambu tree on the Jambudweep, after which the island gets its name. Okay. There is a blazing upward fire with 7 flames. Plakshadweep was governed by Idmajihva, one of the sons of Maharaj Priyavrata. Idmajihva, who named it 7 Varshas after his 7 sons, divided the Varshas amongst the sons, and then retired from active life to engage in devotional service of the Lord. So, again, just as Jambudvipa was divided into 9 Varshas, this Plakshadvipa was divided into 7 Varshas. And Idmajihva had 7 sons, and he divided the Plakshadvipa into 7 Varshas and handed over 1 Varsha to each of his sons. So now, what is this Plaksha tree? He says, this seems to be the Pippala tree. The dimensions of the Jambu tree are mentioned in 5:16:12 as 1100 yojanas high and 100 yojanas wide. Parikshitaha means surrounded. The fire remains predominant. Akalaya means he gave. He awarded each of his sons one Varsha of Plakshadvipa. Shivam Yavasam Subhadram Shantam Kshemam Amritam Abhayam iti Varshani Teshu Girayo Nadyascha Saptaiva Abhignataha Manikuto Vajrakuta Indraseno Jyotishman Suparno Hiranyashtivo Megamala iti Setu Shailaha Aruna Nrimnagirasi Savitri Suptabhata Ritambara Satyambara iti Mahanadyah Yasam Jalopasparshana Viduta Rajastamaso Hamsa Patangordvayana Satyanga Samgyaha Chatvaro Varnaha Sahasrayusho Vibudopama Sandarshana Prajananaha Swargadvaram Traya Vidyaya Bhagavantam Traimayam Suryam Atmanam Yajante. Okay. So the 7 Varshas of Lakshadweep are named according to the names of those 7 sons. What were the names of the 7 sons? Shiva, Yavasa, Subhadra, Shanta, Kshema, Amrita, and Abhaya. In those 7 tracts of land, there are 7 mountains and 7 rivers. The mountains are named Manikuta, Vajrakuta, Indrasena, Jyotishman, Suparna, Hiranyashtiva, and Megamal. And the rivers are named Aruna, Nrimna, Angirasi, Savitri, Suptabhata, Ritambhara, and Satyambara. One can immediately be free from material contamination by touching or bathing in those rivers. There are 4 castes of people who live in Plakshadvipa: the Hamsas, Patangas, Urdhvayanas, and Satyangas. So this is like, Brahmana, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras. Like that, there are 4 different castes in the in Plakshadvipa, and who live for 1000 years. They have forms as beautiful as the Devatas and produce offspring as the Devatas do. They worship the Supreme Lord in the form of the sun, representing the Vedas, the gate to Swarga by the path of karma. So they worship the Supreme Lord in the form of the sun, representing the Vedas, the gate to Swarga by the path of karma. So here, Srila Vishnu Chakradaguru says, the mountain ranges divide the Varshas and touch the ocean on both ends, running at right angles to the oceans. The Hamsas, Patangas, Urdhvayanas, and Satyanas represent the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. Their forms and method of producing offspring are like that of Devatas, which means I think they enjoy, and in the last year of their life, they beget an offspring like that. If you remember, that's how we had discussed sometime. So then, okay. So they are offering their prayers. Pratnasya Vishno Rupam Yat Satyasya Ritasya Brahmanah Amritasya Cha Mrityoscha Suryam Atmanam Imahi Iti. We surrender to the Surya, who is a form of Vishnu, the oldest person, who is the presiding deity of executed dharma, of knowledge about dharma, of the Vedas, and of auspicious and inauspicious results. So they are worshipping Surya as a form of Vishnu, which means probably they are worshipping Surya as the eye of Vishnu, one of the eye of Vishnu. Okay, let's see if there is an explanation here. He say, we surrender to the sun who has the form of the oldest person. He is the presiding deity of dharma when performed, of dharma as it is known, of the Vedas which give knowledge of Brahman, of good results and of inauspicious results. So as the one who represents time, Surya is considered to be the bestower of these results, because they all one gets those results according to the time, and particular kinds of rituals are performed at particular time of the day, like that. Okay. Plakshadishu panchasu purushanam ayur indriyam ojah saho balam buddhir vikrama iti cha sarvesham outpattiki siddhir avisheshena vartate. Longevity, sensory prowess, physical and mental strength, intelligence and bravery are naturally and equally manifested in all the inhabitants of the 5 islands headed by Plakshadvipa. So this is the difference. In Plakshadvipa, the longevity, sensory prowess and everything, all these qualities are naturally and equally manifested, it is mentioned. They are naturally and equally manifested in all the inhabitants of the 5 islands headed by Plakshadvipa. Then, further, it is mentioned. Okay, just give me a second. Plakshah swasamana ikshurasodena avruto yata tata dvipopi shalmalod viguna vishalah samanena surodena avritah paribhrinte. Plakshadvipa is surrounded by an ocean of sugar cane juice. Can you believe it? Ocean of sugar cane juice. I'm not very sure how many there drink sugar cane juice. They would have been, fed up. Sugar cane juice. How much sugar cane juice can you drink actually? Anyways, but probably for them, sugar cane juice is like water. I don't know. Lakshadweep is surrounded by an ocean of sugar cane juice, which is equal in breadth to the island itself. Similarly, there is another island, Shalmali Dweep, twice as broad as Lakshadweep, which is 400,000 yojanas, and surrounded by an equally broad ocean of liquor. There is Jambudweep. Surrounding Jambudweep, there is saltwater ocean, and surrounding the saltwater ocean is Plakshadweep, and surrounding Plakshadweep is a sugarcane juice ocean, and surrounding the sugarcane juice ocean is Shalmali Dweep, and surrounding the Shalmali Dweep is an ocean of liquor. Yatraha vai Shalmali Plaksha Ayama Yasyam Vava Kila Nilayam Ahur Bhagavatas Chandaha Stutah Patatri Rajasya Sa Dvipahutaye Upalakshate. On Shalmali Dweep, there is a Shalmali or silk cotton tree from which the island takes its name. Silk cotton. Then is Shalmali and Shimuli the same? Uh, Shimuli tree, which comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Is that Shimuli tree and Shalmali tree the same? I think Shimuli is also like silk cotton, I guess. I'm not very sure. If someone finds out, you can please let me know. Is that Shimuli the Bengali version of Shalmali? I am not very sure. If someone has any idea, you can just let me know. On Shalmali Dweepa, there is a Shalmali tree from which the island takes its name. That tree is as broad and tall as the Plaksha tree, that is 100 yojanas broad and 1100 yojanas tall. The learned scholars say that just this gigantic tree is the residence of Garuda, the king of all birds who chants prayers. Okay. Suki Mataji says, yes, they are the same. Okay. Thank you for confirming. Chandaha Stutaha refers to Garuda, who praises Vishnu by the hymns arising from his limbs. Shruti says, Suparnasi Garutman Trivritte Shiraha. You are Garuda. Your head is the Trivrit Stoma of the Vedas. The Shalmali tree gives the island its name. Because the tree is there, it's called a Shalmali Dweepa. That island in which there is the Shalmali tree. Tadvipa Adipatihi Priyavratatmajo Yajnabahu Swasutebyah Saptabhyah Tannamani Saptavarshani Vyabhajat Surochanam Saumanasyam Ramanakam Devavarsham Paribhadram Apyayanam Abhignatam Iti. Same thing. Okay. So just like in Plakshadweep, Idmajihva, one of the sons of Priyavrat Maharaj, he had 7 sons. So he divided that Dvipa into 7 varshas. He divided the Dvipa into 7 varshas. So now, here, another son of Maharaj Priyavrata named Yajnabahu, he was the master of Shalmali Dvipa. And he divided the island again into 7 tracts of land, which he gave to his 7 sons. Again, he also had 7 sons. He divided that island into 7 parts, 7 varshas, and gave it to his 7 sons. The names of those divisions, which correspond to the names of the sons, are Surochana, Saumanasya, Ramanaka, Devavarsha, Paribhadra, Apyayana, and Avijnata. तेषु वर्ष अद्रयो नद्यश्च सप्तैव अभिज्ञातः स्वरसः शतशृङ्गो वामदेवः कुन्दो मुकुन्दः पुष्पवर्षः सहस्रश्रुतिर् इति अनुमतिः सिनीवली सरस्वती कुहु रजनी नंदा राका iti. In those tracts of land, just as we saw for you know the Jambudvipa and you know Plakshadvipa, in the same way, in those tracts of land there are 7 mountains: Swarasa, Shatashringa, Vamadeva, Kunda, Mukunda, Pushpavarsha, and Sahasrashruti. There are also 7 rivers: Anumati, Sinivali, Saraswati, Kuhu, Rajani, Nanda, and Raka. Tadvarsha Purushaha, Shrutadara, Viryadara, Vasundhara, Ishandhara, Samgya, Bhagavantam Vedamayam Somam Atmanam Vedena Yajante. The inhabitants of those islands who are known as Shrutidharas, Viryadharas, Vasundharas, and Ishandharas. So just like, so in each of these tracts of islands, the 4 classes, they have different names. Just like in Plakshadweep, they had different names. So now here in Shalmalidweep also they have different names. Okay. So they are known as Shrutidharas, they are the Brahmanas. Viryadharas, they must be the Kshatriyas. Vasundharas, they are the uh, Vaishyas. And Ishandharas. See, Shrutidharas is Brahmana. Shruti is knowledge. Virya is strength. So they are Kshatriyas. Vasu is wealth. So they are Vasundharas or Vaishyas. Ishandharas. Anyone knows what could be the meaning of Ishandharas? See, Shruti is knowledge, Virya is prowess, Vasu is wealth. So you can clearly see why the Brahmanas are called as Shrutidharas, the Kshatriyas are called as Viryadharas, the Vaishyas are called as Vasundharas. What is the meaning of Ishandharas? I mean, they are Shudras, that much we know that. But why Ishandharas? Ishandhara. Ishan. Okay. Anyways. So they all worship Soma, the moon god, an expansion of the Lord personified as the Vedas. So this is the prayer that they offered to the form of moon, which they worship as a representation of Lord Vishnu. Swagobi Pitrdevebhyo Vibhajan Krishna Shuklayoho Prajanam Sarvasam Raja Dasomo Na Astviti Andah Somo Na Astu Iti. May the moon, the king of all the citizens and of us, who divides food for the Pitrus and the Devatas, according to the waning and the waxing phases, by his rays be favorable to us. Swagobihi means by his rays. Andaha is food. May Soma, our king, be in our presence. Astu. Astu means astu, like that. Okay, there is not much to discuss. That's why I'm reading and moving forward. Okay. At least for me, it's, kind of topography. I cannot talk more than this, Maybe Prem Gaurang Prabhu might be able to give little more details to whatever is mentioned here. But in my case, beyond whatever is given, I don't think I can talk more on this. It's Vedic, the greater geography. In my case, I was very poor in Indian geography and world geography. Geography was a nightmare for me. Then, of course, so the same thing continues in universal geography also. Anyways, evam surodad bahistad vigunah samana samanena avruto घृतोदेन यथा पूर्वः कुशद्वीपो यस्मिन् कुशस्तंभो देवकृतस्तद्वीप तद्वीपाख्य आकारो ज्वलन इव अपरः स्वसष्प रोचिषा दिशो विराजयति. Outside the ocean of liquor is another island known as Kushadvipa, which is 800,000 yojanas wide, twice as wide as the ocean of liquor. As Shalmali Dvipa is surrounded by a liquor ocean, Kushadvipa is surrounded by an ocean of liquid ghee, as broad as the island itself. On Kushadvipa, there are clumps of kusha grass, from which the island takes its name. The kusha grass, which was created by the Devatas by the will of the Supreme Lord, like a second form of fire, illuminates all directions by the effulgence of its tender shoots. The effulgence of the tender shoots of this Kusha grass actually illuminates the whole island. Okay. The effulgence of the tender shoots illuminates the directions. Tadvipapatihi Prayavrato Rajan Hiranyareta Nama Swam Deepam. Again, Saptabhyaha Swaputrebhyaho Yatabhagam Vibhajya Swayam Tapa Atishtata Vasu Vasudana Dhridaruchi Nabigupta Stutyavrata Vivikta Vamadeva Namabhyah. O king, another son of Maharaj Priyavrata named Hiranyareta was the king of this island. He again divided it into 7 parts, which he delivered to his 7 sons according to the rights of inheritance. Again, somehow they saw probably how naturally the island is divided by the mountains and rivers, and accordingly they begot that many sons probably. I am just guessing. Otherwise, how could each one of them have exactly 7 sons? And there are 7 mountains and 7 rivers, which kind of they are called as Maryada Giri. So Maryada Giri means the mountains which act to divide the island into multiple parts. They act as the kind of boundary mountains. The king then retired from family life to engage in austerities. The names of those sons are Vasu, Vasudana, Dhridaruchi, Stutyavrata, Nabigupta, Vivikta, and Vamadeva. Tesham Varsheshu Sima Girayah. So we saw Maryada Giri, Sima Giri, same thing. Okay. Sima Girayo Nadyascha Abhignataha Sapta Saptaiva Chakras Chatushringaha Kapilaha Chitrakuto Devanika Urdhvaroma Dravina iti. Chakra Chatushringa Kapila Chitrakuto Devanika Urdhvaroma Dravina iti. Rasakulya Madhukulya Mitravinda Shrutavinda Devagarbha Ghritachuta Mantramala iti. So these are the names of the rivers. Okay. Okay. So from the it is the details of all these dvipas is shared in this thing. This is from the Subodhini. All these things are described. Okay. Okay. So in those 7 islands, There are 7 boundary mountains known as Chakra, Chatushringa, Kapila, Chitrakuta, Devanika, Urdhvaroma, and Dravina. There are also 7 rivers known as Ramakulya, Madhukulya, Mitravinda, Shrutavinda, Devagarbha, Gritachyuta, and Mantramala. Yasam Payobhihi Kushadvipaukasah, Kushala Kovidabhiyukta, Kulaka Samgya, Bhagavantam, Jataveda, Sarupinam, Karma Kaushalena Yajante. By bathing in the waters of those rivers, they all become purified. The inhabitants of the island of Kushadvipa, named Kushalas, Kovidas, Abhiyuktas, and Kulakas, worship the Lord by expertise in Vedic ceremonies. So again here, Kushalas, Kovidas, Abhiyuktas, and Kulakas. These are the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. So they offer, so just like in Plakshadweep, they worship the sun. In Shalmalidweep, they worship the moon. Moon as the representative of the Supreme Lord. And in this, they are worshipping. This is which Dvipa? Kushadvipa. So in Kushadvipa, they are worshipping fire. So this is the prayer that they offer. Parasya Brahmanas Sakshat Jata Vedosi Havyavat Devanam Purushanganam Purushanganam Yajnena Purusham Yaja Iti. O fire, you are directly the carrier of offerings. You are directly the carrier of offerings for the Supreme Lord. Please worship the Supreme Lord by offerings to the Devatas who are the limbs of the Lord. So again there, Purusha Anganam. Devanam Purusha Anganam. Which means they are clearly seeing the Devatas as limbs of the Supreme Lord. Okay. O fire, you are directly the carrier of offerings for the Supreme Lord. Worship the Lord by sacrifice to the Devatas. This means offer what is given in the name of the Devatas who are limbs to the Lord who is the source of the limbs. Okay. Then, Tata Gritodad Bahihi Kraunchadvipo Dvigunaha Swamanena Kshirodena Parita Upaklipto Vrito Yata Kushadvipo Gritodena Yasmin Krauncho Nama Parvatarajo Dvipanama Nirvartaka Aste. Outside the ocean of clarified butter or ghee is another island known as Kraunchadvip. So we saw Jambudvip, Plakshadvip, Shalmalidvip, Kushadvip, Kraunchadvip. Kraunchadvip is the fifth dvipa, which has a width of 16 lakh yojanas. Twice the width of the ocean of clarified butter. As Kushadvip is surrounded by an ocean of clarified butter, Kraunchadvip is surrounded by an ocean of milk as broad as the island itself. On Kraunchadvip, there is a great mountain known as Krauncha, from which the island takes its name. So just like others are known by a tree or kusha grass like that, in Jambudvip there is a Jambu tree. In Plakshadvip there is a Plaksha tree. Then in Kushadvip, Jambu, Plaksha, then there is Shalmali, there is a Shalmali tree. Then there is Kushadvip, there is the Kusha grass. Now this is Kraunchadvip, there is a Krauncha mountain, okay, from which the Dvipa gets its name. Upakliptaha means surrounded, and Vritaha also means surrounded, is connected with the next sentence. Yosau guha praharanonmatita nitamba kunjopi kshirodena asityamano bhagavata varunena abhigupto vibhayo babuva. Although the vegetables living on the slopes of Mount Krauncha were attacked and devastated by the weapons of Kartikeya, the mountain has become fearless because it is always bathed by the ocean of milk and protected by Varuna. So this particular mountain is Krauncha mountain. Guha refers to Kartikeya and Vibhayaha means without fear. Tasmin api Prayabrato Gritaprushto Nama Adipatihi Svedvipe Varshani Sapta, again 7. Svedvipe Varshani Sapta Vibhajya Teshu Putranamasu Sapta Riktadan Varshapan Niveshya Swayam Bhagavan Bhagavatah Paramakalyana Yashasa Atma Bhutasya Harehe Charanaravindam Upajagama. Same story everywhere. Just change the name of the sun, but they all did exactly the same thing. Okay. The ruler of this island was another son of Maharaj Priyavrata named Gritaprishta. He also divided his own island amongst his 7 sons. After dividing the island into 7 parts, named according to the names of his sons, Gritaprishta Maharaj completely retired from family life and took shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord, the soul of all souls, who has all auspicious qualities. Gritaprishta is addressed as Bhagavan because he has knowledge of creation, maintenance, and destruction. There is another verse in the Vishnu Puran, just like the Aishwaryasya Samagrasya Viryasya Yashasya Shriya. So that verse talks about the explanation of the word Bhagavan when it is offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But sometimes the Jivas are also addressed as Bhagavan. Under what conditions a Jiva can be addressed as Bhagavan? There is a similar verse in the same Vishnu Puran. I will try to find that verse. I think Baldev Bhushan in one of his Gita commentaries quotes this verse. I am not able to recollect the verse, but there is a verse like this. So, Amo Maduruho Megaprishtah Sudama Bhrajisto Lohitarno Vanaspatir iti Gritaprishtha Shutaha Tesham Varshagirayah Sapta Saptaiva Nadyascha Abhikyataha Shuklo Vardamano Bojana Upabarhino Nando Nandanaha Sarvato Badra iti Abhaya Amrutauga Aryaka Tir. The sons of Maharaj Gritaprishta were named Ama, Maduruha, Meghaprishta, Sudama, Brajishta, Lohitarna, and Vanaspati. In their island, there are 7 mountains which indicate the boundaries of the 7 tracts of land, and there are also 7 rivers. The mountains are named Shukla, Vardamana, Bojana, Upabarhina, Nanda, Nandana, and Sarvatobhadra. And the rivers are named Abhaya, Amrutauga, Aryaka, Tirthavati. I think the verse is incomplete. Tirthavati, Rupavati, Pavitravati, and Shukla. Yasam Ambaha Pavitram Amalam Upayunjanaha Purusha Rishabha Dravina Devaka Samgya Varsha Purusha Apomayam Devam Apam Purnena Anjalina Yajante. The water of these rivers is pure and clean. The inhabitants of Kraunchadweep are divided into 4 castes: the Purushas, Rishabhas, Dravinas, and Devakas. So this is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. They worship the Supreme Lord by offering a palm full of water at the lotus feet of Varuna, the Devata whose form is water. Apomayam means formed from water. Apaha Purusha Viryaha sta Punantir Bhurbhuvasvaha Tanaha Punitamiva Tanah Punitamivagni Sprishatam Atmana Bhuva iti. O water, your abilities have been given to you by the Lord. You are the purifier of the three worlds. Purify the bodies of us who touch you, since you are the destroyer of sins by your presence. Like that. O water, your abilities have been given by the Lord. Purusha Viryaha. Yeah, Sham Mukund Prabhu says that all these things such as sugarcane juice, milk gets actually contaminated and impure to drink after some time. But by the Lord's energy, they remain pure. Correct. This is true. So you purify these three worlds. Purify the bodies of us who are touching you, since you destroy the sin by your Swarupa. Evam purastat kshirodat parita upaveshitah शाकद्वीपो द्वात्रिंशत् लक्ष योजना आयामः समानेन च दधिमण्डोदेन परीतो यस्मिन् शाको नाम महीरुहः स्वक्षेत्र व्यपदेशको यस्यः महासुरभिगन्धस्तं द्वीपम् अनुवासयति. Outside the ocean of milk is another island, Shakadvipa, which has a width of 32 lakh yojanas. As Kraunchadvipa is surrounded by its own ocean of milk, Shakadvipa is surrounded by an ocean of churned yogurt as broad as the island itself. In Shakadvipa, there is a big Shaka tree from which the island takes its name. Its fragrance scents the entire island. Tasyapi Prayavrata eva Adipatir namna Medatitihi so api vibhajya sapta varshani. Again you see 7. Putra namani tesho swatmajan Purojava, Manojava, Pavamana, Dhumranika, Chitrarepa, Bahurupa, Vishwadhara Samgyan, Nidapya Adipatin, Swayam Bhagavati, Ananta Aveshita Matis, Tapovanam Pravivesha. Same story everywhere. The master of this island, also one of the sons of Priyavrata, was known as Medatiti. He divided his island into 7 sections named according to the names of his own sons, whom he made the kings of that island. The names of those sons were Purojava, Manojava, Pavamana, Dhumranika, Chitrarepa, Bahurupa, and Vishwadhara. After dividing the island and situating his sons as its rulers, Medatiti retired, and to fix his mind completely upon the lotus feet of the Lord, he entered a forest suitable for meditation. एतेषां वर्षमर्यादागिरयो नद्यश्च सप्त सप्तैव ईशान उरुशृङ्गो बलभद्रः शतकेशरः सहस्रस्रोतो देवपालो महानस इति अनघायुद्धा उभयस्पृष्टिर् अपराजिता पंचपदी सहस्रश्रुतिर् निजधृतिः इति. From these islands also there are 7 boundary mountains and 7 rivers. The mountains are Ishana, Urushringa, Balabhadra, Shatakeshara, Sahasrasrota, Devapala and Mahanasa. The rivers are Anaga, Ayurdha, Ubhayasprishti, Aparajita, Panchapadi, Sahasrashruti and Nijadriti. Tadvarsha Purusha Ritavrata, Satyavrata, Danavrata, Anuvrata Namano, Bhagavantam Vayuvatmakam Pranayama Viduta Rajastamasaha Paramasamadina Yajante. The inhabitants of those islands are divided into 4 clans Ritavrata, Satyavrata, Danavrata, and Anuvrata. So these are the Brahmana, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. Destroying Rajas and Tamas by pranayama, they worship the Supreme Lord in the form of Vayu by the most intense concentration. Parama Samadhi, no? Okay. So this is the prayer. Antapravishya bhutani yo bibartyatmaketubihi antaryamishvara sakshat patu no yadvashe sputam. May the Antaryami, the Supreme Lord, who enters within and directly maintains the living beings by the functions of the pranas, under whose control the universe is created, please protect us. Atma Ketu Bihi means by the functions of the prana. Okay, okay. एवम् एव दधिमण्डोदात् परतः पुष्करद्वीपस्ततो द्विगुण आयामः समन्तत उपकल्पितः समानेन स्वादूदकेन समुद्रेण बहिरावृतो यस्मिन् बृहत् पुष्करम् ज्वलन शिकामल कनक पत्रायुतायुतं भगवतः कमलासनस्या अध्यासनं परिकल्पितम्. Outside the ocean of yogurt is another island known as Pushkara Dvipa, which is 64 lakh yojanas wide, twice as wide as the ocean of yogurt. It is surrounded by an ocean of very tasteful water as broad as the island itself. So this is sweet water. On Pushkara Dvipa, there is a great lotus flower with 10 crore pure golden petals, as effulgent as the flames of a fire. That lotus flower is considered the sitting place of Lord Brahma. Okay. So this is which Dvipa? Pushkara Dvipa? Yeah, this is Pushkara Dvipa. Okay. So then, तद्वीपमध्ये मानसोत्तरनाम एक एव अर्वाचीन पराचीन वर्षयोर्मर्यादाचलो अयुतयोदन उच्छ्राय आयामो यत्र तु चतस्रुषु दिक्षु चत्वारि पुराणि लोकपालानाम् इन्द्रादीनां यद् उपरिष्टात् सूर्यरथस्य मेरुं परिभ्रमतः संवत्सरात्मकं चक्रं देवानाम् अहोरात्राभ्यां परिभ्रमति. In the middle of that island is a great mountain named Manasottara, which forms the boundary between the inner side and the outer side of the island. Which forms the boundary between the inner side and outer side. Its breadth and height are 10,000 yojanas. On that mountain in the four directions are the residential quarters of the devatas such as Indra. The wheel of the chariot of the sun god, making up a year, going around Meru, travels on the top of the mountain with northern and southern courses called the day and night of the devatas. So this is that Manasottara mountain on which the wheel of that Surya Dev, the wheel of the chariot of Surya Dev, it travels on this Manasottara mountain. So this Manasottara mountain is also a circular mountain. Okay. Okay, because Manasottara mountain is circular, there are two Varshas, one on either side of it, also of circular shape. So instead of, so there are dividing it into 7 parts. This Dvipa is divided into 2 parts, divided by the Manasottara mountain. By days and nights of the Devatas means with northern from winter to summer equinox and southern courses from summer to winter equinox of the sun. So this is uh, Dakshinayan and Uttarayan and Dakshinayan. तद्वीपस्यापि अधिपतिः प्रयव्रतो वीतिहोत्रो नाम एतस्य आत्मजौ only two रमणक धातकी नाम्ना नामानौ वर्षपति नियुज्य स स्वयं पूर्वजवद भगवत कर्मशील एव आस्ते. The ruler of this island, the son of Maharaj Priyavrata named Vitihotra, granting the two sides of the island to his two sons named Ramanaka and Dhataki, engaged himself in the activities for the sake of the Lord, like his elder brothers. Tadvarsha Purusha Bhagavantam Brahmarupinam Sakarmakena Karmana Aradhyanti Idam Cha Udaharanti. The inhabitants of this tract of land worship the Lord in the form of Lord Brahma by actions with cause further actions. Sakarmakena Karmana, and offer prayers to the Lord as follows. So this is the prayer. Yattat karmamayam lingam brahmalingam janorchayet ekantam advayam shantam tasmai bhagavate namaha iti. I offer respects to the Supreme Lord, whom people with the idea of servant and object of service worship as Brahma, who is attained by karma, who is fixed in devotion to the Lord, who is non-different from the Lord, who is peaceful, and by whom the Vedas are known. I offer respects to the Lord, whom people with the idea of servant and object of service worship as Brahma. Brahmalingam Archayet. Who is attained by karma and who is fixed in devotion to the Lord. So Brahmaji is fixed in devotion to the Lord, who is non-different from the Lord in the sense of the same goal, the same purpose, same mission. Okay. It is said, Swadharmanishta Shatajanma Puman Virinchitameti Tatap Param Himam. A person fixed in Dharma attains the post of Brahma after 100 births, and by more pious acts he attained Lord Shiva or his abode. For this reason, Brahma is called Karmamayam. He is attained by performing karmas. Okay. People worship Brahma, who is attained by karma, by whom the Vedas are known. Okay, because from his mouth the Vedas come out. So, by differentiating the object of service and the servant, Bedena. This is an alternative version of the line, Bedenaikantam Advayam. Brahma is fixed in devotion to the one Lord. He is non-different from the Lord according to the reasoning, Yoyat Shraddhasa Eva Saha. One becomes similar to whatever form he worships with faith. Similar means similar in nature, like that. Okay, so this brings us to, we have covered 50 slides. We have another 36 slides, which is going to talk about the Loka Loka mountain, the one within, the one beyond, and the glories of sun and all that. Yeah, I think we can take this tomorrow. I am not very sure if you will have any questions for today. If there are any questions, we will take. If there are any questions from previous sections which are unanswered, we will take. and then we will pause today's discussion. Okay, there are two hands up. Yes, Shivakumar Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams, Prabhu.
Wonderful.
So, Prabhu, I don't have questions from today's class, Prabhu, but I have a general question, Prabhu. Can I go
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Prabhu, like in our material experience, the happiness has a dependency on the other side of it, which is suffering, Prabhu, to contrast it.
Yeah.
And, so I think you also have given many examples like the appetite. The hunger itself is a suffering that enhances the experience of having food itself and things like that. So
Yeah.
then given this experience, Prabhu, how do we understand that in spiritual world there is only bliss and there is no counterpart to it, and it has no
No, there is
dependency?
counterpart. The principle of contrast is there in the spiritual world also.
Okay.
The only difference is that
Mm.
the so-called contrast in the material world both
Mm.
creates pain.
Mm.
But the so-called contrast in the spiritual world in the form of Sambhoga and Vipralamba, union and separation, both
Okay.
creates bliss. So it
Okay.
is not like in the material world,
Mm.
there is ultimately it is distress.
Mm.
In the spiritual world, also there is contrast. It
Mm.
is separation that enhances the experience of union,
Mm. Mm.
but both are bliss.
Okay. Okay.
So the principle of contrast is there in the material world also and in the spiritual world also.
Okay.
In
Okay.
the spiritual world,
Mm.
that which looks like suffering is bliss, is
Mm.
also bliss. In
Mm.
the material world, that which looks like bliss is also suffering. That is the difference.
Okay. Okay. Mm. So Prabhu, when we say the material world happiness is actually suffering, is it because it ultimately leads to suffering, or the happiness itself is suffering, Prabhu?
The happiness itself,
Mm.
because of the nature of that happiness,
Mm.
uh, and also the constituents of that happiness is
Mm.
mostly the three modes.
Okay. Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
And also the nature, Adyantavanta Kaunteya, it
Mm.
has a beginning and it has an end.
Mm.
And and the experience of that bliss is also not very tangible.
Mm. 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 Mm.
Like uh, someone was telling
Mm.
that they became very excited
Mm.
that they started staying,
Mm.
that they got a house near Govindas.
Mm.
Okay. They
Mm.
became very excited.
Mm.
After 6 months,
Mm.
when I asked them, they lost that excitement because there is, it is so close.
Uh,
And first time there is excitement, second time, then the
yes.
law of diminishing marginal returns catches up.
Mm. Mm.
Okay.
Mm. Mm.
So they are
Okay.
no longer excited about Govindas.
Okay.
The whole reason, one of the
Mm.
greatest excitement for them to take that house was Govindas. So
Mm.
now in 6 months, that excitement is gone.
Mm. Mm. Okay.
Now the guests who come to their house, they are excited. They are no longer excited.
Okay. Okay.
You see, that is
Mm.
the nature.
Mm. Mm.
Because it is chapala sukha.
Okay.
Even the bliss that is available is so meager,
Mm.
and also it has a beginning and an end.
Mm.
So this
Oh,
causes this distress.
okay. Okay.
So the principle of contrast is there in the
Mm.
spiritual world also and material world.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu, just one follow-up question, Prabhu, on the contrast in spiritual world. So you are saying the union separation, there is contrast, but both are bliss. Now that separation in spiritual world, Prabhu, does that have a dependency of the existence of material world? Is that facilitated through the material world?
No, no. In the spiritual world,
Mm.
uh, the pastimes and yoga maya facilitate it.
Mm.
The yoga maya facilitates separation.
Okay.
The yoga maya facilitates union also.
Mm.
So
Okay.
there is no dependence on the material world.
Mm. So when we say the separation, Prabhu, in spiritual world, that is not to be considered. the same as the jivas coming down to material world for their own enjoyment in separation of Krishna, is it?
No, the jiva again, how should I answer this question?
Okay. Okay, it goes to fall down. Okay.
So, I mean, I don't personally believe that the jiva comes down.
Okay, Prabhu.
That is not the separation that we are talking about.
Okay, Prabhu.
Uh,
But
yeah,
at least, yes,
there is
Prabhu.
only one unidirectional flow of the jivas. There is no bidirectional flow,
Okay, Prabhu.
except for specific cases where Krishna wants some very exalted devotees to come to the material world and deliver the
Mm-hmm.
uh, people of this material world. Those
Okay.
are the only people who come in the direction of the material world.
Okay.
Otherwise, there is only unidirectional flow. And this is very clear from the explanation of the acharyas
Okay.
who
Okay.
say that who describe three types of living entities.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
The Nitya the Nitya Muktas,
Mm.
the Nitya Baddhas, and the
Mm.
Baddha Muktas.
Mm.
Okay. The Nitya Muktas are eternally liberated.
Okay.
The Nitya Baddhas are eternally bound.
Mm.
And the Baddha Muktas
Mm.
are the bound people who by practice of sadhana become liberated.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
There is no category of jivas which
Okay.
is Mukta Baddhas, who
Mm.
were initially
Okay.
bound, initially liberated, and eventually become bound.
Okay.
So you see whether Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's writings, Srila Jiva Goswami's writings, Srila Baldev Bhushan's writing in Prameya Ratnavali, everywhere there is only mention of three categories of jiva. The
Mm.
fourth category of jiva,
Mm.
Mukta Baddha, one who was first liberated but then eventually became bound, that category is not given anywhere.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
So,
Okay.
yeah, so that separation
Mm.
is not created by the material world.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
It's
Okay.
not dependent.
Okay, Prabhu. So, Prabhu, if it's okay, just one last thing. I'm asking the question in a different flavor. So, the suffering that the sadhaka, the devotee goes through in the sadhaka stage of
Mm,
knowing the value of association of Krishna, but not being able to do it because of the material association,
mm.
cannot be compared to the Nitya Vilas, pure devotees going through the suffering of separation of Krishna in the spiritual world. Is it true?
Yeah, it looks similar, but it is not the same.
Okay. Mm. Mm. Okay. 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 Thank you so much, Prabhu. Very enlightening. Thank you so much.
Correct. Yes, Sachipuran Prabhu.
Dandat Pranam.
Dandat Prabhu.
Please accept my request. And you just now mentioned, Prabhuji, in the shloka that Lord Shiva, after certain period, even Jiva can become Lord Shiva, because here it is mentioned that after the Shiva, means Shiva is
No,
the
no, no,
eternal person, no, Prabhuji.
no, no, no. So it is, uh, so that verse itself sounds like that, but that is not the understanding of that verse. So
Oh.
it says, Swadharmanishta Shatajanma Puman Virinchitam Eti. This is true with Brahmaji. If for
Hmm.
100 lifetimes one perfectly performs the Varnashrama duties, then he can attain the post of Brahma.
Hmm.
Tatap param himam. This is Lord Shiva speaking to the Prachetas.
Hmm.
But if one has even more piety, he does not become me. Uh, there it means he attains my abode.
Oh.
Yeah. Tatap param himam means he attains my abode. That's how we should understand that.
So he go to Shiva Loka actually. Hmm?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Right. Yes, Mother Gail.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
Yeah, just following up with your conversation with Shiva Kumar Prabhu, when he was talking about the contrasts in the spiritual world and material world, which by contrast we mean dualities, no?
Mhm.
So you said that when it comes to, material happiness,
Mhm.
the problem there is two things. One is, the temporality of of the happiness.
Mhm.
It has beginning and end. But the other thing was that is comprised of the modes. That material happiness is comprised of the modes.
Yeah.
So can you elaborate on that? Because I'm not sure what that means. That because that
Yeah.
the idea
The
that happiness is comprised of the modes.
yeah.
And
So whether the swabhava, the antakarana, the mind, intelligence, false ego, etc., of the living entity is
mm,
made up of these three modes,
mm-hmm,
where there is either predominance of sattva, rajas, or tamas.
mm-hmm,
Now, if in the sense object there is a matching, a person with a sattva guni internal makeup gets a sense object which is also sattva guni. If that match happens, then there is an experience of joy.
mm,
If the sattva-guni person gets a rajoguni object, there is an experience of disappointment, pain, etc.
mm-hmm,
Or
mm-hmm,
if the sattva-guni person does not get a sattva-guni sense object, there is an experience of disappointment, pain, etc. So it all depends on, that kind of, it's not on the platform of soul, it is on the platform of the modes, where the senses, the which are also senses, mind, etc., which are also predominated by particular modes, they come in touch with sense objects, which are also made of particular modes, and that,
mm-hmm,
depending on whether there is a compatibility or not, it creates the so-called experience of joy or disappointment or suffering, like that.
mm-hmm. Okay. And if a person in Tamagun, they match up with sense objects in Tamagun, for them that's happiness. No?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a couple things about the today's subject. So we were saying that on each of these dvipas, right, there are inhabitants who fall into these
Four categories.
these four categories, but
Yeah.
are we're sure that those are the four categories that we find here, even though they are of different names.
Yeah, correct. That's mentioned by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also.
Ah.
He said they correspond to the Brahmana, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras. And if you see
Mm-hmm.
their names also, they indicate the same thing in many
Mm-hmm.
cases.
Mm-hmm. And all of these inhabitants, they have, either the same or similar shastras as we, by which to conduct their lives.
Probably. It's not so explicitly given, but I would presume probably similar, very similar Shastras.
Okay. I wonder if you could describe again, because this has always been, not so clear for me, this chariot going over the
Oh, okay. That
Mansotara mountain.
we will have to
Oh,
wait till Prem Gaurang Prabhu comes and explains it. He has done a research on this. So that's his area of expertise. I am
okay, but
also,
no,
yeah.
but this I know you understand this the geography of that last dweepa,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
The one that's surrounded by milk, I think. What is that dweepa called?
I mean, the last Dvipa is surrounded by sweet water, I guess.
Oh, okay, Sweetwater then.
Yeah.
Um, and that dweepa, I don't remember the name, but we said that it's divided by a a circular mountain, right?
Yeah,
Which
that is the
is
Manasotara mountain.
the Manasotra mountain, um which means that actually that dvipa, I mean, that mountain
Mhm.
is actually concentric to
Yeah.
all of the inner, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
uh-huh. And the chariot of Surya Dev, isn't it Surya Dev's chariot?
Yeah. Yeah.
He rides on top of that mountain.
No, the chariot wheel touches the mountain. That is why this
Oh,
is a technical thing. He will
oh,
explain it
chariot.
through some
Uh-huh.
diagrams and, whether the chariot is there or only the chariot wheel is there. So if the chariot wheel is only there, where is the chariot? Where does Surya Dev sit? Where does the
Yeah,
chariot driver Aruna sit? All of that
right.
is, Prem Garan Prabhu will be able to best explain all these things.
But it's that same chariot that creates all of these 7
No,
islands. Oh
no.
no,
Those
it's
are 7 different chariots, which
7 different chariots. Oh.
Priyavrat Maharaj uses.
Oh yeah, okay. So this is the last question. So Priyavrata Maharaj, the what was it was his he has what did he have 7 sons? Was it?
Priyavrat Maharaj, did he have 7 sons?
Well, the main
Yeah, correct,
question
correct,
is
correct, correct. Yes.
because I was trying to figure out was it that each one of his sons had I don't know was in charge of one of these 7
Dvipas.
islands.
Yes, 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 correct.
Uh-huh. And then each one of those 7 sons, they had 7 sons of their own, huh?
Most of them,
Most of them.
except for the Jambudvip, he had 9 sons, and the
Wait,
last Dvipa, he had 2 sons because that island was divided only into 2 parts by the Manasottara mountain. The other 5 sons of Priyavrat Maharaj each had 7 sons, and they divided their island into 7 varshas.
yeah, right. And that dweepa that had the Nonosatara mountain,
Yeah.
dividing it. What was the name of that dweepa?
Okay. I also forgot. Let me tell you. Is it right?
Okay. No,
Oh, no,
never
no, no,
mind.
no.
I thought it
Let me
was
check and
something.
let you know.
Job.
Okay, I will just let you know. Just give me. Pushkara Dvipa. Okay, yeah, I think, yeah, Pushkara Dvipa.
Pushkara dweepa.
Yeah, because there is a Pushkara means lotus, because there is a golden
Yeah.
lotus on which Brahmaji sits. It's known as the Pushkara Dvipa.
Okay, great. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Okay, there are some questions in the chat box. Will the inhabitants of these islands have bodies similar to ours? Again, not very clearly mentioned, but I would presume yes. Okay, another question. So is it that those who are worshippers and devoted to Lord Shiva will have to take so many births to reach the abode of Lord Shiva? Yeah, any kind of perfection may take multiple lifetimes, even perfection on the path of karma or jnana, you know. So the abode is guaranteed, but whether it will be achieved in one lifetime or not, that guarantee is not necessarily there. So, yeah. Okay. So we will pause here exactly 8:30. Wow, wonderful. So we'll pause here, continue this discussion tomorrow. Thank you all very much for your patient listening and your enthusiastic participation. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Pad ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.